Wow, guys, what an explosive episode tonight as Negan, things come full circle for him. Finally, after all these years and his dirty ways and him trying to reconcile and be a better person, we see Negan on his knees begging for the life of Annie and his unborn child. More so Annie, really, at the point in time. But either way, I mean, you have to imagine the flashbacks to Glenn and Abraham, and, they were helpless. There was nothing they could have done, that any of them could have done. And I feel that Negan was spared mercy tonight in this episode 22 called Faith. And, I think this faith could be referenced to a couple different things going on, because we also saw someone else come through in a clutch moment at the very, very end, which I think we all saw coming, and that is, of course, Mercer, right? Mercer with Eugene, but we'll get to that in a second. But, this episode really did focus a lot on Negan, and and from the beginning of the episode we saw Judith and some scenes of Negan as his transformation, as as Rick spared his life, and then he's got to know the people of Alexandria and some of the others, and we saw some battling between Ezekiel basically saying, you took someone from me, you took Benjamin from me, Henry's brother, and that was my family, and I'll never forgive that. And I can respect those words. I think we all can, from Ezekiel, and even Maggie, she's had to just delve down deep, right? She's had to really dive down to try and find that inner strength to try and forgive this man for what he has done. And I guess it's easy for us to say, right? Because we're just the viewers. A lot of us like Negan. I mean, kind of. I think some feel that he's been kind of castrated as a character. But his transformation has been admirable in my eyes. But yeah, the things he's done, right? Can you truly be forgiven for that? Maybe not. And living in the past, it's not a good thing. But he even says that to Ezekiel: you go ahead and live in the past, and I'm gonna do this for the future of my son and my wife, and this and that. So some powerful words going on. It's a pretty solid action through. We see the uprising at near the very end, where that commandant leader of that forced labor camp, the red-haired dude. I mean, that dude was a total political man for Pamela. You could see why he was in the position he was. But he got his face eaten off, quite well deserved. Rosita still doesn't know where little baby Coco is. Maggie was able to find Herschel, so I guess that's good, right? So I'm still wondering about that, though, because if Maggie and Negan are going to go off on their own show, do you really see Herschel in that mix? I don't. I mean, obviously they weren't going to kill the kids off. That'd be probably a little too dark for the show. So I'm just kind of wondering what's that all going to be about. I mean, are they going to jet off into the future, and maybe Herschel's older and he's doing something? I don't know. It's a lot of questions around that. But, I wanted to hit on that point again real too while we're just talking here for a moment, guys. What do you think about the whole thing where Walking Dead keeps announcing these shows and announcing these people that clearly are going to live past the ending of the TWD main show? And what I'm talking about specifically is Negan. So in the last episode, and I didn't get to do a review last week, apologies for that, but the one thing I did want to call out from that episode, because that's really the only thing worthy, is that Negan was saying he was going to sacrifice himself, which, again, we saw that tonight, right? On his knees, ready to take the bullet. He didn't call out Ezekiel or anybody else. He was willing to do what he needed to do to try and get the others to uprise. But we know he's going to be in a show. So there's literally, yes, so tonight, of course, for a few moments I was like, oh, dang, what's going to go down here? But you knew there was no true danger for him. I knew there was danger for his wife, Annie. I knew she could be on the chopping block. I knew that Ezekiel or some of the others, maybe they might open fire on them. Who knows? There was a valiant effort, for all the prisoners, mostly our friends, Princess, Ezekiel, walking out in front. Big move for Ezekiel. He saw that what Negan was willing to do, and he's like, well, I'm not just going to let this man go out like this. Ezekiel's got too much pride for that, and honor. And I just didn't feel any, true worry or pain for Negan, because I'm like, he's going to live. He's going to make it through this. If anything, I just want to see how the rest plays out. What's going to happen to Annie? What's going to happen to the rest of our friends? Still, here we are. We're 2 episodes from the ending, guys, and we have not seen barely a death from any of our friends. Nobody. Eugene is the closest one to getting it, and we pretty much see that that's not going to happen, at least at this point in time, as basically he doesn't get the fair trial that we all knew he would not get. That judge, everything else was so corrupt in that courtroom. Pamela and her smug-ass little smile. You really learned to hate that woman. Truly. But yeah, he's found guilty, and he's being walked down, hooded, which I'm thinking to myself, that dude's about to be executed. Do you really need to hood this guy? But they unhood him in front of Mercer, and Mercer says something like, let's F some stuff up, or something of the sort. So, I mean, clearly the speech that Eugene gave, right, was enough to push Mercer over the line and say, okay, I'm done. I'm done being her lackey. I'm done being her dog boy or whatever else. And he's willing to step up. But now he's got to find, I'm sure, the troops that are loyal to him. But I always kind of think back to Gladiator, and Maximus, and how he was the one who led the army, so they all trusted in him. I mean, he was pretty much their leader, right? It wasn't just Caesar, So I'm just thinking the same way with Mercer. I'm like, he's got to have a lot of troops that are on his side, and they'll follow him, probably to death. So hopefully that's going to be the key that turns this thing all over. Is this really the ending we all wanted to see for the show? I'm going to probably guess no. I mean, it looks like it's going to probably be a happy ending, not like Scooby-Doo happy ending, but it's definitely going to be on the happier side. I'm just wondering, are we going to lose anybody important to us in the meantime? I mean, I just feel like they're kind of rushing here at the end, guys, don't you? I mean, 2 episodes left. We just found out tonight that, or whatever, this week's episode, that Oceanside was also taken over. We get to see a few of our other friends. I can't remember his name for the life of me, but he was I don't know if he was a songwriter or something like that. A writer of some sorts. I think he played violin or something. And he was part of Magna's crew, right, in Yumiko. So they said that, oh yeah, we just came from... I was like, dude, we haven't seen you in forever. I'm like, what are you doing here? And clearly it was just kind of to toss in, the message that Oceanside's been taken over. So again, these just like little tidbits thrown in at the last minute. I mean, so what? Are they just going to overthrow Pamela and then everything else just kind of falls into place? I mean, it just seems a little too quick, a little too like just how convenient that everything just worked out. Are we going to even lose anybody by the end of the last episode? I mean, again, it's not like I want them to die, but not everyone can live. It's just, that's not the way it works. Never in zombie movies or shows. It just does not go that way. I want to know your thoughts. Let me know. I'm pretty much done with this rant for tonight. The episode was solid. I mean, it was entertaining. It was fun. I just give points against the Walking Dead producers and showrunners for making some lame choices of releasing information about shows that are coming up and letting us know that basically certain characters have plot armor and they will not be dying. So that's lame. That's super lame. But I give the episode a solid 8. I think it was a lot of fun. I really want to see how these 2 episodes end off. Again, I just don't feel like it's going to be that shock and awe kind of ending that we might have probably all hoped for. But a lot of things changed, right, guys? We know, with Rick leaving a couple years ago, and then Michonne and some of the others, being killed off because they weren't getting the screen time they needed, like Jesus and a few of the others. I think the show just kind of changed the dynamics of it. It's just not what it was never going to end the way it could have ended. If Rick would have still stayed with the show or this or that, it could have been a whole different tone if they wouldn't have killed off Carl. Oh, God. No, that angered a lot of people. So a lot of people didn't care. I could go either way on it, to be honest, but I know he was a special character to many, especially those who were true to the comics. So we'll see, guys. I don't know. A couple episodes left. I'm going to try and stick with you. I'll definitely be doing the next 2 reviews, so I won't miss out on those. So thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed. Make sure to check out my content. I released Halloween 1978, Everything You Didn't Know About. So if you like movie trivia, go out and check that out on my channel. And other than that, guys, I will see you at the next review. See ya.